Hey, welcome back. This is episode 2 of the Smack This, the unofficial Godsmack podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Humphrey, and there's a lot to talk about in this episode, so get ready. Let's talk about God. First off, let me slow down for a second. First off, I want to thank everybody who subscribed, everybody who viewed the episode 1 and the intro episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Alright? So, here we go. Some Godsmack news. There's a happy belated birthday to bassist Robbie Morrell. Happy birthday, Robbie. Shannon Larkin is playing drums on the newest single for Ugly Kid Joe. It's called Cause That Ain't Living. I kind of like that title. Ant. Also, the band announced in August 27th they're going to be playing in their hometown of Boston, Massachusetts. And September the 30th, they're going to be in Vegas. Viva Las Vegas. So if you're in those areas, make sure you get some tickets, because I promise you ain't going to be disappointed. Also, that kind of gears up because in October they got a month-long European tour to come out in October. So if you live in those towns, make sure you get tickets to go see them. Now in this episode 2, I'm kind of going to get my fanboy geek on. So if you're ready for it, let's do it. Alright, so what I'm going to talk about is I'm going to dub it as the Radio Festival. The band played 6 shows in 3 weeks. It kind of started in mid-April, ended the very beginning of May. They played these shows for radio stations. There were a bunch of other bands that played. Godsmack was the headliner. They brought, as Sully would say, the bells and whistles, which means the fire and the pyro. And so you basically got a really good Godsmack show, as if it was their own show. They did play about an hour and a half, sometimes a little bit longer. Now what I'm going to also talk about is the set list of these shows, because it was very interesting for a big fan like me of how they did these shows, because they kind of twisted some stuff. They didn't do the double battle of the drums on any of these shows, which surprised a lot of people, even me. Which is a big staple in their live shows. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Shannon Larkin, who plays the drums, his drums come out. If you're sitting staring at the stage, he usually goes stage left, and then out from nowhere another drum kit comes out and Sully's on it, and he goes stage right. They do these amazing drum fills, and then they face the audience and they do like a medley of songs, usually like Black and Black, Walk This Way, Moby Dick by Led Zeppelin. They do usually like a little Metallica song, like the last tour they did, Enter Sandman. We Will Rock You, the drum part of that. It's really good. If you've never seen it, look it up. I promise you, you will be blown away. So let's get to the set list. Well, let me back up. So during these shows, they had this intro, which they used on the Legends Rise tour, which was like a mismatch of songs, like Rush's Tom Sawyer, that led into Dream On by Aerosmith, which led into the Beatles' Hey Jude, and I'm pretty sure I'm probably missing a song. But anyway, they had this white curtain drop, and a guy by the name of DJ Mike, who mixed this mishmash, is on the screen, and he's hyping the crowd up. And then once that's done, that white curtain drops, and then there's another black curtain with the big G for the new Godsmack logo as it appears. And then once that curtain drops, there's some like pyro, a little bit in the lighting tress on one side, a little bit in the lighting tress on the other. And that's basically how the show starts. Now in the set list, I'm going to have to look down because I have to use my cheat sheet on this one. So I'm going to use the Tampa show. They started off the shows with I Stand Alone. Now that's very interesting because that's usually the last song that they play. It's like the last song of the encore song. And they usually do fire into it. They didn't use any pyro in this. Plus, like I said, they started the show with it. And also another thing, so see, this is where I'm talking about on my geeky side, is when they start the shows, usually Sully starts off on the guitar, and when they play most of the show, and then usually around Voodoo is usually when he gives up the guitar and he's on the mic. So to start off the show with the mic was very interesting, and I thought it was a good way to start the show. It was very unique. Now they also went into, so Sully gets the guitar, and he goes into When Legends Rise, 1,000 Horsepower, Crying Like a Bit, and then Keep Away, Straight Out of Line, Unforgettable, which I think is awesome live, Awake, Something Different, Speak. Now he's off the guitar. So when he gets on to Speak from the 4 album, he gets up the guitar. So it's a little sooner. So he goes into Speak, Voodoo, Bulletproof, whatever. And that's the end of the show. And of course you got the encore. Now they only did 2 encore songs. Under Your Scars, which is absolutely fantastic song. I love that song. And they did the Beatles cover, which is also on Live and Inspired, Come Together. Now, overall, this set list rocks. I mean, you get representing every single album on in this one show, and usually they don't really do that. They usually don't do anything off the 4 album. Sometimes they'll bring it in like Speak or The Enemy, and then that's usually about it. But this time on this tour, or these radio festival shows that they did do Speak. Now, hang on for that thought. Now, in the Orlando show, which was the next town that they did after the Tampa, they actually had to cut the show short. They ended the show with Under Your Scars. They didn't do, as the encore, didn't do the other Come Together. Now, I have read, I don't really know, but they had to cut the show short because of some fighting in the crowd. I'm not really sure, so if you was in the Orlando show, let me know, because I don't know. The band really hasn't said why or anything. I hadn't read anything except for that. So if you was at the Orlando show, tell me. I would love to know. Now, also, in one of their hometown shows, Worcester, Massachusetts, they actually played a little bit longer set because of a band. They ended up getting COVID while they were out. So Godsmack and a couple of the other bands actually had to add a song to make up that time. So what they added was Rocky Mountain Way, which is a Joe Walsh song, which I think they did an absolutely incredible version of. And instead of Come Together on the encore, they replaced it with AC/DC's Highway to Hell, which, again, I love their version of that. I wish they would record that, but who knows, hopefully soon. And then the Milwaukee show, they actually dropped Speak. That's what I was saying. I don't know. I don't know if they don't like that album. I don't know. So that was the Milwaukee show. And then in Minneapolis, Minnesota, they brought back Speak and brought back Come Together, so they dropped Highway to Hell. So what I thought was interesting is they really mixed it up on this. Usually they stick to one set list and they stick to it. Sometimes they'll add a song, maybe two. This one had a lot of mixtures in it, and I thought it was great. Watching some of the shows that I've seen online, the band looks like they're having a blast, which is great, but especially after what I said in episode 1, which was Sully's statement of saying this might be the last Godsmack album. So I'm hoping that it's not. And so that's this week's episode. Again, I really appreciate everybody who viewed episode 1 and the intro episode. And episode 3 I'm going to drop next Thursday. So Thursdays are going to be my drop days on my new episode podcast. And episode 3 is going to be about the debut album, Godsmack. I'm going to go through the history, All Wound Up, which was an independent record. That's basically Godsmack 1, the debut album. Compare and contrast. So, this week's homework, if you went to any of these shows, let me know. Tell me what you thought. If you went to the Orlando show, what went on? Why did they cut those shows short? So anyway, I appreciate everybody, and I'll see you guys next week, next Thursday. All right? Live hard, live fast. Godsmack. Oh yeah, one more thing. I'm representing. You'll see different Godsmack shirts. Sully. Saboteur. I like that Godsmash. Anyway, I'll talk to you next week. Talk to you Thursday, episode 3. Thank you.